Hi everyone and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter and I'm joined with Connor.
Hey guys.
We're going to talk about DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 1, Episode 10. It's called Progeny, and as always, full spoilers for the show. Was this better than last week, Connor?
Yes.
I would agree. That said,
Not perfect. Some issues, but
I don't know, there's this thing where it's kind of incurred this level of apathy from me now.
yeah, it's a weird middle ground where there was definitely stuff I know I enjoyed in this, and there was other stuff that I definitely didn't. But like you said, there's a lot where it's just kind of there.
I'm starting to really feel the dialogue be a bit grating, especially with certain characters and certain plot lines. Everything with Ray and Kendra was just kind of annoying me this episode.
I am convinced they have no fucking clue what they're doing with Kendra. Do you know what was really annoying with Kendra for me this episode? They talk about Degerton and they liken him to Hitler, and then they have her flashbacks. It's like to a time, obviously when she was alive. And it's like, why didn't they do something relevant to her being alive when Hitler was doing all that?
Yeah, that would actually made it more.
Why would you not do that? It's so obvious.
I don't have an answer for that. Actually, what annoyed me more with Kendra this episode, outside of the bullshit romance crap, was there a reason she kept getting left in the ship? Like, at the start, they go out, right, it's like everyone but her, obviously Mick because he's in a cell, and they split into two teams. One team goes to see where the kid is, one team goes to see where the robots are, right? Then they come back, and they come up with their plan, and they all pick sides. They say, right, I'm going to be on Team Kidnap, I'm going to be on Team
Did quite enjoy that scene.
Sabotage. What, are they picking the sides?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably one of the better scenes of the episode. Right? And then they all start to leave, and Kendra's just there, just standing. And that,
Yeah, she just doesn't say a damn thing.
as Ray's walking out, he's like, are you okay? Ding for Arrow. Even though it's not Arrow, but it's getting okay. He also mentioned Bloodlust.
Yeah, it's a double ding.
Admittedly, the mention of Bloodlust did at least make me chuckle because of the way she said it. She said, a serious case of bloodlust. Which almost seems self-referential at this point, that they're making fun of it.
It does.
Yeah,
like in that scene, I completely forgot she was even in the room until
the end.
Until the end, yeah.
Yeah. Nah, it was weird. I don't know what they were doing with her this episode. Now, we got that she was kind of out of it when she started having her flashbacks or memories, but they could have had a line of dialogue where she said, like, where they acknowledged that she was going through something and that's why she wasn't going out. It just felt weird. It just felt like, she's the noob, doesn't know how to do anything, so she can.
I feel like that's happened a lot this season, where they just don't know what to do with her.
Well, that's because she's basically a plot device. She's the one that has to kill Savage. She's the backstory for him.
They need her around for the end, and that's about it.
Well, that's just part of my problem with the whole romance with them. All the stuff they bring up in this, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, like, she repeatedly falls in love with the same man, and I have no problem with her having an love interest, like, but I did think it was far too quick. Like, we said this back when they first, like, had that jokey episode where both him and Jax were, like, fighting over her. We said, hasn't it been, like a month at most, and, like, from their perspective since...
See, it was a problem then. That's not a problem for me anymore after they had the 2 years. Because for that, like, we didn't see it, but for them it was.
No. Yeah, no, I agree. For them, it's been 2 years now, and that's fine. But that was a problem then, and now it's just coming up that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
So you know, it's like that side of the problem's gone away, but it's just made this other side where what this has not come up in the last 2 years of living together and being a married couple.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And also, speaking of Ray, another problem I have is one. And the fact is I actually made up a reason for this halfway through the episode, but then something that happened later debunked it, right? So, they go to the robot place and they see the statue that looks like him, right? And for this point we think it's him, right? He's the great-great-grandfather of Kaylee from Firefly, by the way. Anyone. And he comes back and he's like, oh, I've got a child that I didn't know about. And all that was running through my head was, well,
what if you haven't had it yet?
Yeah, this could be later. This could be 2018 you had the kid, or 2019.
That's the same thing that was going through my mind.
After you go back, like, you just might not have had the kid yet. It's really not that difficult.
Ah.
But then I answered it in my head. I thought, well, wait a minute, maybe there's some stuff that happened that we didn't see. Like maybe they actually looked to see the records or whatever, and they seen that X and such was born on whatever.
Yeah, but if
Right?
they'd done that, they'd have known the whole time.
Yeah, but then of course it's revealed the twist at the end is that oh no, it's actually his brother who's the guy who did all
Who
this.
we've never even heard mentioned before.
No, I've not. Which I love a problem with that because it kind of works for the joke, but the problem is that it just comes back to my initial thought where why did he
Well,
assume?
it's a little bit weird, like to go, oh, this brother who's he must have gone and worked for Felicity and done all this stuff. We've never even once. I mean,
Like I say, I can forgive that just purely because it's for a joke, for him reacting to the fact that it wasn't
yeah,
him. Right,
yeah.
I can let that go just because it's meant to be a bit of fun, but it comes back to this idea: why did he think he already had the kid? There was no
Yeah,
reason to
I
believe,
don't understand that at all.
unless he assumes he's never going back. But
It is possible they are assuming that at this point.
I don't know. What did I like? I liked Future. It was nice to actually go to the future for a change and see some flying shit and
Yeah, it
cities in the background, and
looked pretty cool.
yeah, it looked cool.
Yeah, I like Degerton in general. Not necessarily so he's a JSA villain where he's constantly going back and trying to kill them at various stages of their
Is this
life.
from later in the run that I am currently reading?
He's in that run, but just in general, he's
Okay.
a generic, one of their typical villains. And like his thing is he'll like try and kill them at like various points in their life before they're heroes and stuff like that.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And
So kind of some Reverse Flash style nonsense.
yeah, but what I liked about this is the idea that it kind of treats this Legends team as the JSA, so that next season perhaps we could have Degerton come back and try and attack them at various points in their timeline.
Well, that's cool, but my problem with everything you just said is that it's all based on outside knowledge you have from elsewhere.
Yes.
I didn't know who this kid was. I was not particularly impressed with him for the most part.
No, I was just impressed for the ideas of what it could be, not actually what happened with him in this one.
I think part of the problem with me, and I said the dialogue was starting to bother me a lot, is that everything's so on the nose, and they just talk about everything really matter of fact. Like I like the debate of should we kill the kid if it's going to save like all these people, even though he's not technically evil yet. Oh, to be honest, I mean when Rip's talking to him, he already seems like a prick. Like if he was teetering on while let's just shoot him, the way he was talking while he was holding the gun to him, I was like, nah, okay, right, it's a safe choice. I'm gonna kill him.
No, I do know what you mean about it being on the nose. There was one specific line which really grated for me, and I think it was when Rip had kidnapped him, and they're like, "Oh, what's it?" And Sarah's like, "Oh, well, he's obviously done it so that we don't try and stop him trying to kill him." It's like, did you really need to say that he's gone to kill him? Like,
Yeah, there's that.
sometimes just the implication of the previous sentence is more than enough for everyone to get the meaning.
Not only that, sometimes the implication's stronger because I often find that when it comes to movies and stories and comics and video, whatever it is, whatever type of story it is, if you give the person watching, if you give the viewer or the reader or whatever enough information so that they can fill in the last bit on their own, it feels much better to them because they feel like they've solved something.
Yeah.
Even though you'd have to be a moron not to get it, but it makes you just feel a lot. It's just this little thing where if you have to take that final little step yourself, it's much more satisfying.
I think it's a little bit simpler than that. I think it's just the fact that it forces you to actually interact with the show. So it forces it into your head a little bit more than if they just say something and it's just a surface level thing. You actually have to think about the line.
There you go. I'd argue both of those were equally solid reasons why you should do it the better way.
Yeah, there's not really an excuse, really.
And this can kind of be a problem with CW shows. Well,
Yeah.
at least this and Arrow specifically. iZombie actually is.
Surprisingly, none of those problems.
Nah, it's got Rob Thomas writing that though, so I feel like it's just got a
Yeah.
better person steering the ship. And Flash fares better. Like this show definitely teeters between Flash and Arrow, and unfortunately, I do think it's slightly off center, more towards Arrow at times than it is Flash.
See, I'm not sure. I feel like the problem is it is actually kind of dead center, and that makes me kind of in a weird place of not caring either way.
Because the stuff I did like about this episode was the ship can't fire, doesn't matter. Yeah, that's right, we've got superpowers. And then we get a pretty cool fight sequence of them all going out with their powers and stuff and taking on
It looked
soldiers.
quite stylish this episode. There was another shot earlier on. It's Sarah has the sniper rifle, and it kind of zooms in on her. I was like, that looked like a really nice shot.
I think it's got the action stuff down. It's got the look. I love the look of the ship, and in this one we had the future city and all that. It's got the style down. It's just the writing's a bit much, and it's especially with Cold and Mick. Like both of those guys. I do wish sometimes they would let up with the hamminess a little bit.
I liked Cold early on in this episode, where he was like, just kill the bastard.
that amused me. I like the scene between him and Sarah because they actually have good chemistry.
Yeah, they do.
So when she was saying like, what about your feelings, and he's like, what feelings about you? And it didn't play off as a cheesy moment. It just kind of played off as something that he would say to her.
There's a thing with Cold where he doesn't ham it up quite as much around Sarah, and it feels like that's who he actually is, and he hams it up as an act for everyone else. But I don't get why he does it around Mick.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. I think Mick's really hammy as well.
He is, but that is just him.
Yeah. He does this sort of the way he speaks and sort of
Fragmented sentences.
yeah, fragmented sort of dramatic pauses he puts in.
Yeah.
Speaking like a proper villain.
Even when he's not being a villain, he does it.
Because I thought when he goes into this, when Cold goes into the cell and they have the fight, I thought that fight was kind of shit. If I'm honest.
Yeah, it felt like it had absolutely no weight at all.
It just felt like standard, a couple of punches back and forth, then Cold goes down and he decides not to kill him. Because humanity, I guess.
Something like that.
I guess. Also, I think if they'd been smarter, they could have tied in this whole "can the kid change" to "can Mick change," and they kind of they had a couple of lines that connected them, but it didn't feel like I thought the scene where Sarah goes to see him could have been longer and could have played with that a bit more.
Yeah, I feel like Sarah could have had a much better role as well in general because it started the idea that she's changed. Like she was an assassin and
After a serious case of bloodlust, yes.
Yeah, but like she was genuinely like an assassin. She was all into that, and now she's this. And I feel like these are the ideas they could have played with more in this episode.
Yeah. Still a mixed bag. I want to like it. There's a lot of things I like about this show, but
this episode in particular, it feels like the ideas were all there, and they just didn't execute them right.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a shame. It's a shame. My hopes, and we've still got like 6 episodes left, but my hope for season 2 is that the writing steps up a game, and we maybe, hopefully, because Savage won't be around next season, you'd expect that that'll be done with by the end of this one. We'll have a better villain, because Savage is he's kind of hammy as well, you know.
He is. They've still not sold him as a real threat. Like we never really see him do anything. We're told he does all these things, and he's this evil dictator, but we never really see any of it.
Yeah, all we really ever see of him is him chewing scenery.
Yeah.
And it's just not enough to make us actually care about him as a villain. Like I say, I think this was better than last week, certainly, but I don't know. There's a general sort of apathy I have now just because of the quality of the writing is really starting to show its face. When it was keeping up the pace in the first few episodes, it didn't bother me at all because it was just having fun with it. But I feel like most of the fun dialogue is like went away, and now it's just.
I'm hoping next week's is a bit different because obviously I think next week's is the Western with Jonah Hex.
Was that next week? Oh.
I believe so. So, maybe going back and really shaking things up as to the setting entirely could present some fun.
Yeah, but I'd have said that about this one because this is the first one we had in the future.
No, because we had the dystopian Star City.
Oh yeah, I suppose, but still, this was different. This was way in the future. This was like, because they'd fixed the timeline, hadn't they?
Yeah.
Kinda, at least. And then this was like proper future, like flying cars and shit and
Mm.
all sorts. I don't know. The show kind of just keeps disappointing me at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Every episode's like this. This should be good. This should be better than it is.
I hope they find their feet. But that's this week's Legends of Tomorrow. And of course, let us know what you think down in the comments. Are you still enjoying it? Are you agreeing with us, disagreeing with us, so on? And like and subscribe and all that jazz to help out the show. So thanks very much for watching.